I think we all modern humans can relate to one thing very interestingly. I mean, we can relate to a lot of things like stress, anxiety, and depression, but these things are actually present and these things are actively happening in real time. There's a cause and effect to these things, but there's one thing that we all can relate to that is actually not happening either in the real time nor in the future. That is constant worrying about the future or worrying about a particular incident that might happen or worrying that someone might do something to you or someone might hurt you, and the list goes on and on and on. Michel de Montaigne, I hope I spelled that right, was one of the most significant writers of the French Renaissance. He famously said, "My life has been full of terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened." And this dude was living in 1500s. So maybe this is not a modern problem. This was prevailing even way back then. Anyways, my point is, we are not in the present moment, but the present moment is all that we have. And worrying is not the bad part here, but 99% of your worries might never happen. There are a lot of prestigious educational institutes have made a lot of experiments and researches for decades and found something extremely shocking. You see, upon collecting the data from people, they found out that 97% of the things that people worry about never happens. For the 1% of the people, the thing that they actually worried that happened was not actually bad, but instead good and was beneficial for them. For 1.7% of the people, the thing that happened that they worried was actually turned out to be beneficial in the long run. And only 0.3% of the worries that people had actually came true. I mean, think this for a second. If you think this in terms of probability and percentage, all of your worries that you think might happen has only a probability of occurring less than 0%. A random video I saw the other day explained the root cause of it, and I think it's very interesting. In the video, he said it is because we developed a sense of imagination that we are in this current state, and that imagination started when we are at school and was daydreaming or imagining in our heads doing something heroic like fighting a dragon or something, because we disliked being in the school and we found the teachers, teaching and doing all this, giving all this lecture as extremely boring. When I heard that, I couldn't agree more. I believe that this is exactly where I started and where most of us started to imagine things, to sort of live in a dream world because reality was boring and cruel. And the same imagination have followed us all the way to our adulthood. We work at jobs we hate, so we imagine stuffs. Or perhaps we have grown into an adult that imagination has turned into worries. As adults, we don't fight dragons in our head, but we fight ourselves and imagine scenarios or worry about things that might never happen. A while ago, an Asian American asked a question in his video, at the end of his video, that whether if you live inside your head most of the time, will you pay less in rent? The answer is no. Then why are we wasting our prestigious time on thinking wasteful things most of the time? The simple answer is to live in the moment. It's easier said than done, but it's not impossible. We have built this imagination system since from our childhood, so we must be patient. We have to go one day at a time. Also, don't get frustrated when you can't live in the moment and while your mind keeps on slipping off to all kinds of direction. It's okay. Remember, it's perfectly normal because we have been doing this for a very long time. Remember that to think not to think about something is also a thinking. Just be present and observe. Live in the moment even if it's unbearable or something that you don't want to experience at this present point of time. Because this constant thinking, worrying or being somewhere robs us from our time, energy and attention. Even if we don't like where we are at present moment or hate our jobs, we must take necessary actions to improve or change our situation instead of wandering somewhere in our heads. Because thinking takes up a lot of energy. You can notice this especially when you travel. We feel exhausted most of the times because we were constantly thinking or worrying about things or running scenarios in our head while driving or in a commute. This exhaustion further, like I said, robs our energy, which we might have put into a good use. The man in the video also mentioned that when we think about giving up our imagination, that we are hesitant to give up because we have formed our identity around it and we feel like we are giving up a part of ourselves. But the reality is imagination or expectation is actually doing the opposite and it's causing us harm. Imagination is something that is actually standing in our way and blocking us from the things that actually coming to our mind. The guy also gave a further examples like these artists, like musicians, artists and painters. If you listen to the most of the famous musicians, it's not like they are imagining things to come up with a great music. They say that they hear things and they just want to put it into perspective, or they want to make a song out of it or a music out of it. Even the artists and the painters, they have always said that they didn't imagine things, but they can actually see the thing, and all they wanted to do was put it into perspective and draw in the canvas. And he said that this is a difference between imagination and creative vision. These artists are having creative vision rather than imagination. And upon reflecting on this, I found out that most of the things that I found useful or I found wholesome was the thing that happened to me rather than the expectation that I had for something. Manifestation is a huge thing these days, and all the manifestation gurus say the same thing over and over again, that our expectation and overthinking is actually blocking the things that we want. It is pushing the things away from us. The more we want something so bad, we push it further away. That's the law of this universe. And all the ancient texts and philosophies tell us the same thing. The Buddhism, Hinduism, Stoicism all says the same thing over and over again. In Bhagavad Gita, there's a quote that says, "We are only entitled to our work and not to the fruits of our labor." And the Stoicism tells us the same thing. Do things without expectation. Do the things just for the sake of just. So let's be mindful of each and every moment that we have from here on after. Like I said, it's going to be extremely difficult because this is something we are doing from our childhood, and we developed this into such a machine. But we have to stop this. This is nothing beneficial. If this is beneficial, then we have to do more of it, right? But this is not beneficial, and this is causing us damage. And this monster robbing us from our peace, time, energy, and causing us even more stress. Good luck out there. See you in another one. Take care.